Welcome to Heartbeat of Holliston. Today, we're talking to Holliston's Sustainability Coordinator, Amelia Landau. Welcome to Holliston, Amelia.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'm just going to start with a big picture. Sustainability is a really big universe. And so how does that really translate into your job and Holliston?
Well, you're totally right in saying that sustainability is like a very big umbrella term. I like to think about it in basically three buckets. There's obviously, we think about climate action, and that comes back to trying to reduce emissions from human use, so mainly carbon dioxide and methane. And that can also be tied closely to a separate bucket for waste management, making sure that excess food and plastics and all of these materials that we are producing and consuming more of in our modern lifestyles is managed appropriately. And then there's the third bucket, which I would call resilience. Making sure that the ecosystems that surround us are able to adapt alongside us. And the thing is, we don't have here in Holliston some of the same resilience concerns as you would find somewhere else because of just the particular environment that we find ourselves situated in.
Well, that is a big job. So breaking it down, what do you hope to accomplish, or think? What's your priority?
Well, I guess many priorities exist. We have a lot of guidance from the state of Massachusetts on what their goals are and how individual municipalities can contribute to that. Most tellingly, Massachusetts is aiming for a goal of 85% municipal decarbonization by 2050. So not 100%, but still trying to do a massive reduction in those carbon emissions from a relative to the 1990 baseline year.
So a whole municipality? Is that, what does that mean? Every house, every building?
My job is basically distinct in two ways. I'm trying to work on municipal decarbonization in the sense of all municipal operations, our buildings, our open space, and our vehicle fleets.
Okay.
And then separate from that, I'm also trying to liaise with the residents on behalf of the municipal government to see how best we can support their personal decarbonization efforts. And so that includes, I actually find it to be the more fulfilling part of my job is just making sure that I can be a resource to residents who are interested in helping that important lifestyle change.
Okay. So that's a big set of accomplishments. What about any particular projects that you have or you want to do in the future or that are ongoing now?
Yeah, obviously it's always in motion, and so the last thing I would want to do on this show is over-promise, under-deliver. So I can touch on the things that we do pretty much constantly. There's a lot of state programs that run from year to year that we are always involved in. I actually had the fortune of working at the state level with the Department of Energy Resources. And in their Green Communities division, that particular organization offers a lot of the grant funding that actually makes these municipal decarbonization projects possible. And so every year we have the opportunity to apply for their grant funding to take on a new municipal decarbonization project. And one of the overall goals that I have is not just decarbonizing all municipal operations, but prioritizing which ones return most value to people. And so I'm very interested in going for the schools. They are invaluable community resources. They're our biggest buildings, our most used buildings,
True.
and they are very valuable to our most vulnerable populations. So not just the children who attend them, but also they can be used for housing people in times of emergencies,
Yeah.
Especially related to these weather events that may be worsened or increase in frequency with climate change. And so I would love to continue using those grant funding opportunities for as much electrification as we can do as possible for those schools, not just in terms of providing cleaner energy like on-site renewable generation, such as solar panels, to run those facilities, but also making sure that the technologies they run on, like the furnaces and the water heaters, are all decarbonized technologies themselves.
Wow, it almost sounds like you need an engineer to do this part of it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We have contracting with a bunch of consultants, actually, but mainly we work with the technical assistance that that state funding provides in order to make sure that we can be the ideas guys, but it ultimately is actually feasible for what we can do on site.
Right. So you're going to you write the grant for the project, decide what the project scope is, and then if it gets approved and grant funded, then it goes into an actual study and implementation phase with all of the science and experts.
Yes.
Okay. So can you give me a small example of something in the school that is on your priority list?
Well, again, I don't want to overpromise, but I do have a strong preference for wanting to find a way to implement heat pump technology at the schools. So heat pumps, for those of you who might be unfamiliar, are basically how your refrigerator works. They use a heat exchanger and water to draw heat out of the cooling element so that you can cool and ventilate that way, and also to insert heat from various sources, either from like a fan coil or things like that. And as the climate continues to warm, it's only going to be more and more important for us to prioritize not just decarbonizing the aging heating utilities that are on site there, but also to provide cooling as well. And so heat pumps are a great way to do that. It just is going to take a lot of money, but also time and investment to make sure that those facilities are I guess, retrofitted with that technology in an efficient way.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Okay. What about on a smaller scale? Is there anything else that sustainability can happen or is happening here in Holliston?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of municipal projects going on, but even residential focused things are meant to empower residents through the sort of collective action of the municipal government to kind of take this climate action into their own hands. And so residents can get involved in their own homes, in their own backyards. I always am trying to promote the Mass Save program, which has you already pay for it. It's already built into your, not your tax dollars, but your utility bill, actually. Yeah. And it funds the home upgrades that can get your home ready for electrification and make sure that your home is as energy efficient as possible. So that not only prevents excess carbon emissions, but also just makes sure that you're not spending as much money on wasted energy. And that's something that is free for anyone to do, and I'm proud to say that we are always willing to work with residents on how it's easiest for them to do that.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, say I'm just a regular homeowner, and I'm not really very educated, but I've heard of Mass Save, of course, and everybody knows for the last 50 years, we all know to replace our leaky single pane windows with better windows. Well, how does what other than Mass Save, and I'm just a regular homeowner, how else can I participate in sustainability?
Well, it's not all that. It's not all about energy. You know, if that's something that we as a municipality like to point to because it saves people money, but there's also these more intangible actions that you can take that really do make an impact on the other two buckets, like waste reduction and resilience.
Okay, let's talk about those.
Yeah. So for the waste reduction part of things, Holliston is a fairly unique community in New England in that lots of townships around us have transfer stations, you know, where the dump used to be. And we do have a facility at our landfill, but it's actually just a recycling facility. Our trash is through a curbside hauler.
Right.
And most of that is hauled out of state at this point because Massachusetts landfills and trash burning facilities are filling up. They are reaching capacity. And so with that knowledge in mind, if we want to reduce our waste, the actual easiest way to do it is to open up more ways of diverting that waste into different waste streams so that reuse is more common for as much as we consume. So for example, the Marshall Street Recycling Facility accepts all kinds of materials that we only offer it because there's a market for it, because there are people who want to take it and recycle it and turn it into something else.
So what you're saying is that there's, we need to take our trash and send it somewhere else, or I'm a little confused.
Our current curbside hauling is something that you know, is very stable and easy for residents who want to just throw something in the trash.
But we still recycle.
Yes. And there's all kinds of things that you've been throwing in the trash that you actually can put in alternative ways to divert that from landfill.
Okay.
So, for example, food waste composting is one of the most effective ways at waste reduction. Food waste makes up over 20% of the waste stream, and by weight, it's actually much harder to burn and turn into ash that can then go in the landfill more efficiently. So that food waste can instead go to aerobic or anaerobic digestion sites, which, for the long story short, basically negates the methane emissions that they would otherwise do if they were just roasting in the sun at a landfill. And so that's an effective way of kind of a win-win-win of reducing the waste that goes into your trash and also making sure that it's not contributing to methane emissions.
Okay, so I have a compost bin, but I don't put food waste in there, obviously. So would people have a separate bin for food waste?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways that we can do it. If you currently have a compost bin, it's probably a backyard composter, and that usually contains, you know, the browns and the greens. It contains your grass cuttings and your garden clippings and tree branches and Christmas trees and fall yard waste, leaves and things like that.
And vegetable peelings, things like that.
Vegetable peelings, things like that, exactly. But the food waste composting, there's a couple of different ways that you can dispose of it, and one of them is we have a partnership with a curbside hauler for that. They're called Black Earth Compost.
Right, I've seen those, yeah.
So you might have seen around those smaller bins. I think they're 14 gallons.
Yeah, they're small, yeah.
They're little, but they make a huge difference, and at no it doesn't sacrifice the convenience of being able to throw it out, because obviously it's kind of the most disgusting, you know, refuse that we have. I'm also hoping to make a lot of improvements to the Marshall Street Recycling Facility, and one of them is potentially adding bins there so that for residents who don't want to pay for the curbside composting, the haulers can just pick it up from there at one central drop-off location.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Well, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that could go on.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So you mentioned why Holliston is unique in one area. Is there any other unique characteristics of our town? I know that we share you with Sherborn, for instance, and you have worked in other municipalities. I think you worked in Natick before.
Yes.
Okay, so how are we a little different or than some of these other towns you've experienced?
I mean, I can just start by saying every town is unique.
Yeah.
And I think that Holliston has a lot of great natural resources that are, we're able to enjoy as residents and also as, humans who are trying to preserve the nature around us. So, for example, the rail trail is a great way that sort of human use can also contribute to the ongoing conservation of those ecological resources that surround it. I'm also trying to work with the new organization Friends of Winthrop Lake,
Yes.
FOWL, to...
I love that acronym, don't you?
It's
FOWL,
wonderful, yeah. It's so evocative.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do some restoration to Lake Winthrop so that
Yeah.
it can be of more use to the residents. It's completely choked with invasive species right now, and that's something that takes very special care to try to ameliorate. But I can definitively say that as someone who has shared with Sherborn, what they've been able to accomplish at their farm pond sets some great sort of best practices that I can then sort of use to implement to get Lake Winthrop to that same standard.
Great. That sounds really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a great. That would be great to use that asset more productively. Right. We also heard that there might be some projects for the golf course, which you can see
Yes.
behind us. Yeah.
Yeah, so the golf course is also very interesting as a community resource.
That makes us really unique.
Yeah, it's not green space per se. I mean, it's literally green space, but it's not fallow or natural land, but it still does have this opportunity for people to get in the outdoors and engage with how this land is managed. And one of the things that I personally would like to try to do is work with the people who do the landscaping management there and see what best practices we can use to make sure that the management of that land itself as a golf course has minimized impact on the surrounding beautiful, forest and things like that. But then also, as a building itself, I'm looking into options to add solar panels. So we currently, it's not in this image here, but we have the all-electric golf cart charging port.
That's right.
And we would love to put panels on that to make that, entirely off-grid self-sufficient. And then another idea that's been going around is potentially adding a canopy over the driving range that could not only serve as providing on-site generation for the facilities there, but also just like comfort for the people who are trying
sun
to use the
and
facility.
rain protection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's lots of other sites like that around town that we are trying to come up with creative ways that the addition of these eco-friendly technologies isn't just obstructive, but also adding something new to the way that those facilities are able to be used.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Really leveraging the use of these municipal facilities.
Yeah.
Sure. Getting back to you, what do you kind of bring to us, and how did you get into this career?
Oh yeah. So I can say that I'm trying to frame this in a very positive way. I'm very young. And
well, that's okay.
So I don't really have a lot of the baggage that some people who have lived in these communities for 50 years might have when they're trying to approach these problems. I'm trying to make changes that do impact people's lives, and I'm trying to weigh the potential, costs versus benefits in a way that favors the people who have lived here all their lives. And I think that because I don't have that baggage, because I don't remember when that used to be a dump or things like that, I'm very open to listening to everyone who can give me their perspectives on that, and then try as best I can to mediate a way forward. And then on the other hand, I also completed my education recently enough that I am pretty much up to date on all of the best practices in the industry, and in just the philosophy of how we should be approaching such a important and complex issue as climate change or ecological change.
And sustainability.
And sustainability, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you, what drove you to this topic, or? Yeah.
I mean,
Did you major in it in college?
I did.
Okay.
I graduated with a bachelor's in environmental studies from Wellesley College, but I actually can say that I have a minor in English literature. I did not come to college thinking that I was going to go into this field. I was much more on the arts and creative side of things. I was proficient in science, but didn't really have the gumption to get into it. And there's lots of people, especially people my age, who approach climate science and environmental science with a bit of chagrin, with kind of this sense of apathy or doom or nihilism that I will own up to the fact that I kind of too felt whenever I had to contemplate these really big issues. Mm-hmm. And then I can credit the fact that that all turned around to two basic things. One is the fantastic program at Wellesley just started with me taking their Environmental Studies 102, mm-hmm. Introduction to Climate Change. And instead of that being a daunting or discouraging experience, that opened my eyes so much to not just the enormity of the problem, but also the enormity of the solutions mm-hmm. that we currently have at our disposal.
That's a good point.
Technologies that I didn't know existed, programs in our government or in sort of collective action that I didn't know existed, and it equipped me with that knowledge so that I could feel like there was a way to make a difference. And so I then went into an internship studying with Jillian Wilson-Martin, who is the sustainability coordinator for NATIC and has been for over a decade. And we really love her in the field. Like, she basically originated the role in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
And she has set such a high standard for what you really can accomplish with these individual pockets of change throughout the Commonwealth, mm-hmm. that was, again, just so empowering. And I was like, I want to do what you do when I grow up, you know? So
that's great. So that internship gave you the mentoring and the practicalities mm-hmm. of what's possible, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to mention? Maybe the challenges, or your, mm-hmm. or just what can we do to help you along?
Yeah, I will say I love talking to residents, which is something that I think is the most valuable part of my job.
Good. Yeah.
I've had this in my lap the whole time because I fill about one of these every month as I not only take notes in meetings and stuff, but also to whoever I talk to, just trying to make sure that I'm listening and making sure that the way that the town is approaching these issues is taking everyone's interests into mind. And so if anyone listening out there would like to reach out to me and complain, or learn more, or you think that there's something that we could be doing better, that is what I'm here for. I don't want to discourage any kind of civic engagement with this, because ultimately any discourse that we have is better than not thinking about it or not doing anything about it. So how can people reach you? So I have actually a webpage on the town website.
Okay.
I am a department of one. I'm the sustainability department, so everything you see on that page comes back to me. But I am in the town hall. Again, I am shared with Sherborn, but I'm downstairs in the buildings department at town hall. So come ask for me, and you can also find my town phone and email on the website. Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. Well, thank you for giving us this exciting overview of a lot of things that could be happening and mm-hmm. challenges. We'll look forward to seeing more from you. Thank you so much for having me. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. For Heartbeat of Holliston, this is Chryso Lawless.